Viewer discretion is advised.
Us, the Dodgers. I remember in 1991 when you blew it on the last day of the season to the Giants, and then Strawberry tried to say that the Reds tanked. Clayton Kershaw's postseason Dr. Jekyll act, Frank McCourt using the team as a bargaining chip during his ugly divorce and bankrupting the franchise, and of course Bobby Thompson and the third drop strike, old school. And finally, we close with the aging Dodger Stadium, the 56-year-old venue which has only had one name. The phrase, "it never rains in Southern California," holds true as the stadium has held 1,471 consecutive games without a rainout and counting. One of the biggest criticisms of the park is access, as our first mid-20th century entry, this was a matchup between two good teams, and the Reds were much better on this day. Scoring in all but one of their 8 batting frames, the Reds pounded on the Dodgers like Johnny Sins, notching 27 hits. Harry Kraft went 5 for 5 with 6 RBI and hit for the cycle. Carl Doyle took the brunt, giving up 14 runs in 4 innings. He was traded after one more outing. Started the 3 teams in the 2 largest markets, the Yankees, Dodgers, and Los Angeles Angels, do not have mascots, and Brett Gardner doesn't count. Though Don Sutton said he never used a foreign substance on the ball because Vaseline was made right here in America. Dad jokes. And Jay Howell used pine tar in a playoff series. Nothing was more perplexing in Dodgers history than the outright racist remarks made by their GM, Al Campanis, in 1987. Though more of a scandal than cheating, in an interview with Ted Koppel, Campanis said ignorant things in regards to African Americans. I will not repeat them here, which got him fired less than 48 hours later. Imagine if he had Twitter back then. Only 11 years old and with a name that sounds like a legal brothel, Camelback Ranch hosts 2 teams, the White Sox and the Dodgers. Its capacity of 13,000 is the second largest in all of spring training, and the grandstand is modeled after those at Dodger Stadium. I like how there is a nearby lake stocked with fish and it separates the 2 clubs, and I'm sure they fight on who gets to fish in it on the off day. You think of old MLB stadiums, you think Fenway and Wrigley. However, Dodger Stadium is on that same plane in terms of legacy. Not only is it the 3rd oldest, but it is the largest in capacity. An older style design by simply outlasting other parks of its era, Dodger Stadium has held up. The biggest problem I have with this place is the fans getting into dust-ups not knowing how to act in public. I'm not gonna let that define Dodger fans, but y'all need to clean it up. And finally, the worst stadium in MLB history, the Los Angeles Coliseum, Los Angeles, California. A lot of events have been successfully held in the LA Coliseum. The Olympics, college football, a freaking NASCAR race twice, but no MLB stadium has been as weird and as downright ugly for baseball as the LA Coliseum. Rushed into action as the Brooklyn Dodgers could not wait to screw over their faithful New York fan base in a shameless cash grab, the team chose the Coliseum, which had a capacity of over 92,000. And it worked! Fans filled the ballpark. Too bad the stadium was not meant for baseball in any way, shape, or form, and the left field fence was only 250 feet from home plate. And since the Dodgers were finally good after they left New York, think of the Maple Leafs moving to, say, anywhere today and winning cups, the Coliseum actually hosted the 1959 World Series. The MLB was in on the cash grab too, as they hosted the 1959 All-Star Game there. Thankfully, baseball only lasted here 3 agonizing years, and the Dodgers and the city went on to forcing residents out of their homes to build Chavez Ravine instead of playing baseball in an oval. At over 100 years old, the Coliseum still stands today and is where the USC Trojans play. It's just hard to believe they crammed a baseball field into this stadium. The LA Coliseum, Los Angeles, California. The Dodgers hastily moved to LA and into the weirdest and dumbest stadium for baseball in the entire history of MLB. Just look at these horrific dimensions as the team crammed themselves into a stadium designed for track and field and football. NASCAR fits better in this place than baseball does. I would think that if a team tried to pull this crap today, the league would veto it. In fact, because of this tomfoolery, MLB actually changed their rules stating that the distance down either line has to be at least 325 feet. Because of this configuration, Ford Frick ordered a screen to be put up, but the cables, girders, and towers holding it up were in play and were often hit by batted balls. They even played a World Series here and hosted an All-Star game. The Dodgers left this god-awful place after 2 years, and it still stands today as the home of the USC Trojans.
There are currently 27 mascots in the MLB. Only 3 teams, the Yankees, Dodgers, and Angels, don't have one because they have no soul. Los Angeles Dodgers. No team has dominated the regular season in the last decade like the Dodgers, and yet they have 0 rings to show for it. That's right, motherfuckers. That joke of a ring they quote-unquote won in 2020 when the season was only 60 games doesn't count. That's only 37% of a full season. It's equivalent to a 6-game NFL season or a 30-game NBA season. Joke. Clayton Kershaw is the biggest choker of any pitcher ever. 0 real rings since 1988, despite all that cash to pay to guys like Trevor Bauer.
Let's take a look at the baseball offseason, shall we? Almost $3 billion have been spent in free agency, but that number is incredibly deceiving. It's been inconsistent, to say the least. There are the big signings of the batch. A gigantic chasm. The average splurge or two from a team. Another gigantic chasm. A couple of teams making a small signing or two. A pit the size of the Grand Canyon, and then the teams doing jack and shit. There have been some huge deals to those that spent. Corbin Burns embracing his role as a snake. Max Fried wearing pinstripes. And Juan Soto gaining the ability to form a PMC and invade an island nation. Jesus Christ, that's still an insane number to see. But even for Daddy Steve bestowing 10 generations of wealth on a man, there's only one team that's gathered headlines like no other. Your 2024 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. They saved us from Yankee insufferability to grant us Dodger insufferability. There was a time when New York was the evil empire, but that time is long since past. That moniker's moved to the other coast. Nearly all the Dodgers' rotation was ravaged by injury last year, and they still claimed victory. Merely have to try and hedge against those odds this time, don't you? Plus, a significant chunk of their roster would be going into free agency. Where do they start? Oh, just a small-time addition in 2-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell. A mere 6-year deal isn't much for them. And I'm being dead serious about that. A 1-year, $17 million deal for Michael Conforto is a drop in the bucket. The Dodgers use that kind of money as dinner napkins. Just watch him go back to his Mets form as well. We thought Teoscar Hernandez and Blake Trinan wouldn't be back. They're both locked up to multi-year deals. Last year, the Dodgers secured the best pitcher out of Japan. This year, they secured the best pitcher out of Japan. Once again, sending the Blue Jays to the cut chairs, they signed Roki Sasaki for their pleasure. Toronto farted out of Santander during climax. Ollie's bullpen has an injured Michael Kopech, doesn't it? Something get the best reliever on the market in Tanner Scott, no biggie. And they also went to Korea to get Hae-Sung Kim for their middle infield for the hell of it. They can just trade Gavin Lux for futures, it's all good. We ain't done either. Kirby Yates. Welcome to the bullpen of dreams. Merely a blip on a $375 million payroll, which is more than the bottom 6 payrolls in MLB combined. And that doesn't include securing some of the more intriguing blue-chip prospects in long-term projects for the infamous Dodgers developmental machine. Look at this pitching staff and tremble in fear of the gods. And don't forget, Shohei's gonna be able to pitch next year. He was NL MVP as a DH alone. Not to mention the riches already in their lineup. It's what having fuck you money can offer to a franchise. Group tired of playing nice with a bunch of stubborn old codgers who only care for the bottom line. Why make profit when you can win and still find a way to make profit? A huge chunk of everything owed deferred to the 2030s and 40s. We'll all be older, grayer, and probably much fatter. Significant short-term gain for probable long-term pain. That or the Dodgers have a money printer we don't know about. I'm assuming the latter is a realistic possibility. In response to these repeated and seismic revelations, baseball fans across the world are in an uproar. It's against anything resembling league parity, they'll cry. Why even play the game when every player with a dam's gonna be in Dodger blue? Every free agent in future years? They're already Dodgers. All of Asia's simply a farm system for them. It's proof that a hard salary cap's needed for the sport to thrive. The great controversy of our times, according to Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever the hell you converse about sports. Here's the thing. In a past age, I would have been livid at the Dodgers for their offseason too. College-age me would have turned into a salt mine. accusing them of buying a championship like the 2009 Yankees did with their offseason splurges. The reeing would have been heard from coast to coast in tidal waves made by my tears. But experience tends to mellow out the hardened exterior. Do I blame the Dodgers for adding to their arsenals? I don't. If there's an opportunity to upgrade your roster, you do it. If you get discounts from players due to your reputation for premium pitcher development and rehabilitation, take advantage of it. For as much as people bitch, the reality is that they've broken no rules. As long as the Dodgers pay the extremely monstrous amount of luxury tax to the league, they're good to go. There are no stipulations about deferred payments in baseball. Hell, it can backfire horrifically if it doesn't work out. I'm glaring right at the Nationals here. Or Chris Davis if you wanted to pick on a team 45 minutes away. But sometimes it can succeed. Think back to the Tampa Bay Lightning and their cup runs a few years ago. Despite their gobs of talent and skill, there was a massive uproar from a good chunk of the NHL's fandom. They were abusing the LTIR system to buy more players. When Nikita Kucherov was placed on it, then magically was healthy enough to perform at full ability. In the playoffs, the cries came from all angles. They were cheating, sullying the sanctity of the Stanley Cup with its unclean tarnish. Call it bullshit all you want, but there was one thing to mention. Like the Dodgers, the Lightning broke no rules. Everything they did was legal in accordance to the NHL CBA. Hell, the Vegas Golden Knights have done the same thing with Mark Stone, too. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The Dodgers are doing everything in their power to secure another World Series within the legal parameters of baseball. More power to them. They desire to win. I respect it. The reality is that my anger isn't towards LA and their proliferation of nuclear arms. It's with the rest of baseball. I direct my ire to the likes of the Athletics, crying poor for years upon years in Oakland, then respond by giving out the largest contract in franchise history the moment they move. I knew they were going to do it too. They had been deliberately sandbagging for years and were going to open the bank once the move to Las Vegas was confirmed. Stadium or not. I get angry at the likes of the Marlins, who are blowing it up for the 5th time in 30 years. I wonder why the fans aren't going to games down there. It's towards Minnesota, who's been completely chicken shit and squandering a postseason roster by doing fuck all. The lapsed RSN deal's a crutch. They wouldn't be spending much regardless. It's at the Mariners. They have the 54% bullshit that'll only result in their doom. The Pirates, the Rockies, the Rays, the Brewers, it goes on and on. 3 teams haven't even given out a pro contract yet in this free agency cycle. And one of those is the damn Padres. To be fair, they were probably waiting on what Roki Sasaki would do in Ichiro's older brother to the north. They'll probably make a move or two soon, I think. Yet they're a rare sight. There are 10 teams in baseball that haven't spent $10 million on free agents in 2025. If you were to simply take the Conforto deal, that alone would be 19th in free agency spending this offseason. Adding 1 year of Teoscar's contract puts you in the top half. Forgive me if Tom Ricketts' cries into the night go on deaf ears. Getting older is developing the realization that baseball doesn't need a salary cap. It needs a cap and a floor. Avaricious owners around the league merely add to the disparity we see in real time. These numbers will increase by spring training. Look at how many players are still available. It's a certainty even if they're 1-year deals. Considering Bregman and Alonso, they might be forced to settle for those with their demands. Lastly, who the hell said that we're going to win the World Series this year to begin with? Sports world's littered with so-called teams of destiny that are only destined to come up short. The infamously cursed 87 Cleveland Indians, Artie Moreno's all-in push back in 2012. Remember the 2001 Yankees? Post 9/11, the script was all but set in stone. An unstoppable force with stars out the wazoo taking out the greatest regular season baseball team in history. Then the Diamondbacks happened. Baseball's a long slog and anything can happen. And that includes most of the Dodgers pitching staff going on IL by July. Maybe I'm speaking as a fan of an irrelevant franchise, but spending is healthy. When teams don't spend, it's a sign of danger for a sports economy, regardless of the reason why. This means there's going to be a long lockout when the CBA expires, doesn't it? RSN deals lapsing left and right won't do it, this very well might. Enjoy the ride while it lasts, I guess.